everybody, and welcome back to the Pregame Network podcast. This is episode 67 of the only gaming news show brave enough to give hot takes that will ruffle feathers and offend people. So, welcome.
That's a new way to present
Take a seat. I'm trying it out. There's been probably like one big thing for me this week. I mean, obviously we're gonna get into it, but just like every other week, we'll talk about what we've been playing and then whatever else news we decide to cover this week. So, on that note, Anthony, my friend, what have you been up to?
So I have my usual. I have my fighting games. Yep. I have my gacha games, all that little stuff in the mix. The only thing of note there is with the gacha games, Genshin Impact had a summer event. It was nice, good music, a little festive. I think August is late for a summer event. This is across the board and all gaming events out there. Like if you're gonna do a summer event, aim for earlier in the summer. Don't save it for August. Yeah. That's just a pet peeve of mine, but it was fun for what it is. Good music. Other than that, the only two things of note that I really played is I actually re-downloaded and started Control.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah. When you were going through it the second time, I downloaded it. I think I mentioned I may have mentioned maybe I was going to download, but I did end up downloading it and uninstalling it. But now I downloaded it again. And I started it proper, and I don't hate it, but it's not really hooking me. It's a competent shooter. Yeah,
that was my opinion on my returning playthrough to it.
Yeah. The thing about the story so far, you've beaten it. Obviously, I'm not very far, so we're not gonna go nuts here. But there's a lot of like ambiguity and like things just happening that you're supposed to like build suspense and why is this happening, what's all this weird shit, what's going on. And I get like that's the point, but it's like I have a feeling it's gonna fall flat in a lot of ways. Like I'm not confident in it actually.
Wait, you've never played it before?
Never played it before. The most I did is I watched some of the cutscenes from the Alan Wake DLC. Just because I'm a bigger fan of Alan Wake than I am so far of Control, and so I've gotten it started. The one thing I will note so far is like the map system that you hated so much. I'm not gonna say I dig it or that I love it, but if the game is laid out a certain way as I play through it, where it's almost like a 3D explorative kind of thing, I might actually end up really liking the map system. We just gotta wait and see how it goes, because I actually like that aspect of exploration via map, or having a map system like that. But we'll see. It really depends on what's left of the game ahead of me and how well it holds up going through that. But I see potential there. I guess I could say, right.
That's fair. I could not for the life of me. I could look at it and figure out where I am, but I could not for the life of me figure out how to get to where I wanted to go. Yeah. It just wasn't presented in a way that was coherent, in my opinion.
Yeah, so I do actually agree with you on that. I just like it for what it is, where it's like it's part of the navigation there. I understand why you or anyone else that would play it would like look at that and go like, what the hell, this is messy, just help me get where I need to go. But I almost like that aspect of it, because it really comes off of not like a failed map system, and more of like a intentionally designed kind of thing. And I can dig it, but we'll see how it is. It's still early. I only put like 3 hours into the game, so we'll see what happens.
Okay. Do you like the X-Files?
I don't hate the X-Files, but I never sat through and watched all of it.
The Control is very X-Filesy to me.
It's actually it's
whether or not you like it or not.
Gotcha. One of the things I was getting, I don't want to say vibes from, because like it's such a surface level thing that I could be wrong, but you ever hear of SCP?
Yes.
Yes.
It sounds so familiar. I don't know what it stands for.
Okay, so it's Secure, Contain, Protect, I think it's what it's called. You might have heard about it from like the different games on Steam that have come up, because there's been a few adaptations. What it started as is about like 2 decades ago. It was almost like a writer's hub, where a bunch of people would get together and write these different stories, and they would catalog all of these different things called SCPs that are like anomalous things that can't be explained or different creatures and shit. It's a cesspit now, just like most online communities are. Like, there's different series of them. There's like the first 1,000 objects, the first 2,000, the next 2,000, next 3,000, and right around the 2,000 mark, you can tell where like certain terminally online people got involved and now everything kind of sucks. But I was so far I'm getting like different, like the same way that is vague in its storytelling and it's meant to, you know, leave you wondering up until you get the thing, or it's supposed to be like weird things happening. Even though I know for a fact it's not one-to-one and it's definitely not going to be like that, I was getting that kind of vibe, like the same way that you were describing the X-Files. This is the kind of thing I was getting vibes from. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But
I will say that I like the overall vibe that Control was going for, and I actually really enjoyed the final mission. But beyond that, it was like kind of disjointed in a way, and you'll see what I'm talking about as you play through it. But yeah, I couldn't really bring myself to play through it a second time.
Okay. Well, I'm sure I'll have more to say about it either next week or the week after at some point. You know, I'm sure I'll finish it, or I'll hit a point where it makes me drop it, and then I'll talk about that. But the only other thing of note, really, that I played this week is I finally got around to playing the full version of Fatal Fury: City of the Wolves, because they just added Ken from Street Fighter 2. I'm like, okay, now's as good a time as any to drag Harrison out. So me and him played it for like a couple hours, and it's solid, it's fun, it's definitely not what the fighting community wanted, and that's partially what I like it. To kind of give you some perspective, because it's hard for you to understand, the company SNK, I'm sure you've heard of them at least once, you know. Metal Slug.
From you,
yeah. They're like they're an old school company. Like they came from the same place as Namco and Capcom. Capcom in particular, there was a lot of overlay with that. But where Capcom kind of branched off and evolved, SNK kind of stuck to their roots a lot harder, and it really, you feel it in their game design, especially with their fighting games. Their fighting games are like one of the last holdouts of like raw expression, you know, rigid animations that feel good when you actually start playing with them, you know. So it's been fun. It's not necessarily the sequel I wanted to grow Mark of the Wolves, which I'm sure I mentioned at one point. That's still one of my favorite like 2D animated fighters, you know, and this is, I forget what the time gap between that is. But I was essentially waiting a long time for this, and I wouldn't say it completely blew me away, but it is a fun as fuck game. And I'm very glad to finally get my hands on it, even though I don't know how much I'll really be able to play given all the stuff I have lined up, but it definitely deserves more than it's getting. That's really all I have to say about that.
All right.
So what have you been playing, buddy?
Well, a couple different things. You know, some Dark Tide, but that's kind of a staple for me. I've been sticking with Killing Floor 3 as well, trying to get my character up to level 30. They put out a patch recently that is basically just back-end maintenance that I'm sure the game desperately needs. The finals have been a staple for us as well. Like once a week or twice a week, we've been jumping in for like several hours. And I do always enjoy our time with the finals until I don't. And that's the best way I can describe it. I started a new playthrough of Cyberpunk because I just needed something else to play that was like a single player game. And I still love it. I know your feelings on Cyberpunk, but I still really, really enjoy it. So there's that. And then the big thing that I've been playing this week, which I'm sure whoever's listening is going to know what I'm going to say, but the Battlefield 6 open beta. I've put in about 15 hours so far over the course of this weekend, and I definitely have thoughts. But before I touch on that, because this is gonna be like the Battlefield episode essentially. Before I touch on all that, do you remember I told you that like I had a funny interaction having to do with Jack and Daxter?
Yes, I do.
So you'll get a kick out of this. Probably you more than anybody else that I know. The other day I was getting a new couch, right, for my living room, and I had movers hired to help me take out the old furniture and put in the new furniture. So we pick up the old furniture from the house that we bought the new couch from, and then we get back to my house. They go to take out the old furniture, and then the guy who's El Salvadorian walks into the house, and I have like my desk set up in the corner when you first walk in, and it's like but it's like my corner of the apartment is just like all video games and geek stuff and everything, and above my monitor is this big poster framed from the Jack 2 strategy guide of Jack and Daxter riding a hover bike through Basin City, right? Not Basin City.
That's one of the classic key arts. Everybody's seen that.
Yeah. So if you know Jack and Daxter, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But so this guy walks in, this mover who's helping me move all this furniture. He walks in and he looks at it, he turns away, and then he does a double take. He looks at it again, and he's like, "You play Jack? Like you play Jack and Daxter? You like that game?" I'm like, "Dude, it's like one of my favorite games ever. I've got a big tattoo on my chest for Jack and Daxter." He's like, "Bro, I fucking love Jack and Daxter. I played all of them back in my country before I came here." I was like, "You got to be kidding me right now." And we started talking about all the different Jack games and how 3 was the best one and all this shit. I know it was absolutely crazy, and I thought that it was the coolest fucking thing. And again, you were like the only person that I know that would have truly appreciated that, because he walked in, he saw it, we started talking about it, and Steph looked at me like, "Oh, you got to be kidding me." And we started going back and forth. And I still have my original copies of Jack 2 and 3 on my shelf. I don't know where the Precursor Legacy went, unfortunately, but I still have Jack 2 and 3, like the original copies back from the early 2000s. So I pulled them out and I showed it to him, and he was like, "Oh my God." Like we just started geeking out. It was, I've never had that happen to me in like the 25 years that I've known that game existed. And it was just one of the coolest things about being as into gaming as I am, and then having somebody just stumble upon something like that, because you wouldn't know that about me unless you either one, saw my tattoo and knew exactly where it was from, and nobody ever does, or two, come to my house and look at my wall in front of my computer. And this guy happened to be at the right place at the right time, and he was a huge Jack nerd. It was one of the coolest like random interactions I've had with like a fellow gamer in a long time. So that was my funny interaction with Jack and Daxter and some other guy I've never seen before.
Yeah, it's nice
from
to
fucking
just
El Salvador of all places.
I mean, you know, the small world kind of thing, you know. But it is nice to just have a moment where you can appreciate, you know, the classics that you grew up with someone, like even whether it's replaying it or just meeting somebody new that's talked about it, or somebody you wouldn't expect. You know, what are the chances that you bump into like a mover and just go and from a different country and just go, "Oh yeah, I love Jack and Daxter."
It was crazy. I'm like, dude, whenever we move out of here, I'm calling you. And like that was it. He's gonna help me move out of my apartment. It was just the coolest fucking thing ever.
Good stuff.
But yeah, so to start off the show on a light note, that was pretty awesome. And I wish I had more moments like that. Not like Jack and Daxter, but just any
just
game.
In general, you know. You got to remember, we're here to love games. We love games. We love playing games, and there's a long history of games we love. We're just in a very dark
I mean, Anthony and I shit all over the gaming industry and the different studios who make a lot of the games that just fall flat on their faces now. But I mean, we started this because we fucking love video games, and
of course
we just want shit like that to spread. So anywho, that was a cool little interaction I had with another person, and I thought you'd get a huge kick out of that. So I'm glad I finally got to tell you. Yeah, that was really cool. Anyway, moving on to Battlefield. That is the only thing I've been playing for the past 48 hours, and I definitely have thoughts. What?
No, I'm just laughing along because I know it's you you open it with like you have like 15 hours into it. It's just like that's near the maximum amount of time you could have possibly spent playing it.
Yeah.
So it's 15 hours doesn't sound like a lot. It's a lot to fit into 48 hours, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's the only thing I've been playing over the last 48 hours. I am having a really good time with it. I definitely have thoughts on the game, and you've played with me for a solid chunk of that time as well. So before we get into anything else, because the majority of stuff that I put in our news channel has been about Battlefield. So I think we should just start with that because it's the big topic this week, and we're gonna have a second beta next weekend. But just like raw gut thoughts are gonna be freshest right now. We actually just got finished playing it like an hour and a half ago, so we're fresh off of the game.
Yes.
So I don't really know where to start. I have a couple notes written down, and I can kind of speed through those, and then you can give me your take. But first off, the game feels like it should for a Battlefield game. And I know that sounds dumb, but coming from Battlefield 2042, that game didn't feel like a Battlefield game at all, like whatsoever. So the fact that this feels like a Battlefield game is probably the highest praise that I could give it at this point in time.
Yeah.
So that's a huge plus for me.
I will say, just in kind of to agree with you on that, I would say, like, just obviously the most time I have spent with the Battlefield games, I think we talked about this before, is like I have 1943, the one of the ones, I don't know if it was Battlefield 2 or not, probably not, because whenever you talk about it, I'm scratching my head going, did this happen, But, know, the older ones, and then leaning into it, like Bad Company 1 and Bad Company 2. And recently, I didn't mention it because I didn't really go anywhere with it, I did re-download Battlefield 3 and started playing through the campaign a little bit. So, between... my favorites being the Bad Company games, the ton of fun we had with 1943 and whatever older ones I played at a certain point, and the most recent one I enjoyed being Battlefield 1, going into Battlefield 6, it felt right. Like like I have a certain, idea in my head of how a Battlefield game should feel, where it's almost like it needs to feel light in movement, not like a super like speedy shooter, but these are massive maps that you're traversing across, and the real meat in the game is your actions around between other players or with the vehicles. Moving across the battlefield is always my biggest concern, especially after like 5 years of just Call of Duty's misfires with massive maps and Warzone, where everything felt like a trek in whether it's a good way or not, but none of that heft is in Battlefield. Like, it doesn't feel cumbersome to move across the map, and that was my personal biggest concern going into it.
Okay. Actually, that leads in perfectly with the next thing that I wrote down.
Yeah, go for it.
So the exact words that I wrote down in my notes were, the movement looks like Modern Warfare 2019, but it feels like a Battlefield game. But in my opinion, right now it's a little bit floaty. But overall,
I feel that.
Like I've watched hours of gameplay footage before I ever got my hands on the beta, and my number one concern was that, man, this looks a lot like Modern Warfare 2019. And while I said back then that I was okay with that as long as it had like the Battlefield levels of destruction and the class synergy, after playing it, I definitely changed my tune on that a little bit. I definitely don't think that it should feel like a COD game.
Yeah,
but I'm glad that it doesn't, because when you watch it, all the animations and the transitions and the different little discrete things that your character might do, it all looks like Modern Warfare 2019, and like without a doubt that had to have been an inspiration at some level for DICE when they were making this. But it feels like a Battlefield game. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's the most important thing, and obviously, like, to piggyback off of what you were just saying, like, I feel, we went into this looking, it looks like Modern Warfare 2019. I think you were taking that from a much more literal angle, while for me, I was saying it looks like a polished step up from, the mess of Battlefield games we just came from, and, like, really being a successor to the style of Battlefield games we like. You played 3-4, Bad Companies, I played the Bad Companies. We wanted something from that in a level of polish that Modern Warfare 2019 offered. I think as a game, as it feels, like, honestly, I'm getting more Modern Warfare 2 vibes, like the new Modern Warfare 2. Not in a bad way, but like, if you had to compare it gameplay-wise, I do think that Modern Warfare 2 is a better comparison, if you even had to do that. Because Modern Warfare 2 also had that light movement, and it was definitely a faster experience than 2019 was. But overall, I think just between the two of us, it really it feels the way that it needs to, I think.
Yes, and that is the great thing. Like, they definitely did a good job on that. The next thing that I wrote down was recoil is in fact a thing. Now, a big point of concern that I was seeing online, and of course take that with a grain of salt, but was the fact that guns looked and felt like laser beams. And I was like, okay, like, let's see how this is going to play out. So when I got my hands on the beta and using all different types of guns, I've used every weapon so far. recoil is in fact a thing. Like the guns absolutely have recoil. They have their own patterns of recoil. They have their own behaviors. The weapons are not laser beams. Like that's the furthest thing from it. And anybody who actually thinks that really has no idea what they're talking about.
Yeah, I think that's really just it's just that comes from the current level of discourse around these different games, right? Because everybody's kind of hyper-tuned for various reasons to be very critical of these games, and rightfully so. People should always be critical. It's just, stopping at a certain point when you have the full facts is something we all need to work on, but it's important to be critical. Although I will say humorously with the gun in question, I forget which one it was, people were like sharing videos of the gun in action, and it's just like people are one-handing this thing, holding it above their hands, and it's like, some guns just have low recoil. A lot of them honestly have less recoil than their in-game counterparts, so it's just like there's a balancing act there to begin with. But to what you said is, I mean, each gun I tried so far felt distinct as far as it's balancing things like that, like recoil, re-aiming, aiming down sights. There's balancing in play. It's not just a free-for-all with the weapons that feel like lasers, like a submachine gun or something. It's nothing was really egregious to me.
The only thing that felt like a laser beam to me was the MP7, and even the SIG SGX didn't, like, it was an SMG. It felt good, but it definitely had its own pattern of recoil. But I think each gun feels good. Actually, the next thing that I wrote down was the gunplay itself does feel great. It has smooth animations. The weapons feel weighty and punchy, and like when you get a kill, you feel it like viscerally, and that is the best thing that they could have done. And so the guns are in a really good spot. Like I'm sure there's plenty of balancing to be done, especially because we're only seeing a fraction of the guns that are going to be in the final game. I have no idea how much content they're adding to the second beta weekend. I think that we're getting the Brooklyn map next week, but I don't know about any other playable content. So we'll see on that front. But I do like the way that the weapons feel. They all feel distinct. They all feel good. And I'm a giant like gunplay snob because FPS games that's my thing. That's my number one genre. I've always played them. I will continue to play them. And I'm very critical about how things feel in first-person shooters. So the weapons feel good. I'm happy with them, and I definitely want more of them. Let's see, what else? The audio. Oh my God. The audio is on the same level as Modern Warfare 2019, in my opinion. It is fantastic. And especially because the audio, among other things, has to have to convey so much information about what's going on around you. Maybe the only thing that like is a little iffy are the actual footstep audio that's near you, but everything else is fantastic. I think you can easily tell when bullets are zipping past your head or if they come like within inches from your face. You can tell when you're right about to run out of ammo. You can tell when a medic is about to come up and revive you with the defibs. The audio conveys a lot of information and it just sounds really good. So on top of being functional, it sounds fantastic. Yeah. Again, in my opinion, I'm sure you'll have what to say about it, but I think the audio design is very, very good.
Yeah, I've played around with a few different audio settings. Obviously, some of them are really just meant for specific situations you may find yourself in, but I did end up playing with the War Tapes audio settings. And
then there's War Tapes VAL, which stands for Very Aggressive Listening. And that's the only thing I've been playing on.
Yeah, that's the one I settled on, too. So for me, still nothing really in the shooter space tops Modern Warfare 2019, at least in recent memory. At least in the span of like the last 15 years of shooters, I can't really think of any, and that's really where I'd be comparing them anyway. However, it's far from dissatisfying. It sounds good, and I think Battlefield has a little bit more leniency because of how loud the battlefields can actually get. So it's like they kind of get away with the kind of I guess not necessarily being as sharp as like Modern Warfare 2019 was, and we're going to keep mentioning it because that's kind of the bar for Call of Duty. But
what's the bar for probably most shooters?
Yeah, it was a big rebound.
Although I will say the audio design for Dark Tide is up there as well.
Yeah, from what I remember, Dark Tide sounded pretty good too, but Modern Warfare 2019 is definitely like the bar to show it to. And I think Battlefield, I mean, I can't really think of anything negative to say about the sound so far, you know, and there are different ways to tweak it. It definitely sounds like you would expect like something as almost as if Battlefield 3, 4, Bad Company 1 and 2 are like a cutoff in an era of Battlefield games. Everything, and this goes to sounds too, sounds like an evolution from that. So they're on point with everything they said down to the sound level.
Yeah. So audio, good overall. I don't have anything negative to say about the audio either. Next logical thing I think that it warrants talking about is the destruction.
Yes.
Way back when you and I were speculating on what this game was going to be like, and we both settled on the same opinion on the fact that if Battlefield 6 doesn't have the same maybe not level is the wrong word, but like the same quality of destruction as the finals or better, then what are you doing? Like this game needs that level of destruction.
Yes.
And I think that they are right about there. Like I think they're not quite there. I think they're almost there.
Yeah, they're
and
close.
I'll tell you why. So first of all, the destruction in the game is great. It is very, very good. There's nothing quite like either destroying the entire side of a building with an RPG or a tank, or if you're in the building and that happens to the side of the building and you can see, hear, and feel all the rubble coming down around you. That it's just like a really cool moment in the game. So that's definitely feels good to be a part of. And the reason why I say that I don't think it's quite at the finals level yet is because there have been countless times where I'll put an RPG or a grenade or you know, an explosive onto, you know, whatever side of a building that I do. And it doesn't just crumble like everything else does, and I'm left there kind of scratching my head as to why did this happen. Is it the damage value of the item that I used? Is it the building? Like, why didn't it fall apart like the way I was basically promised in all the promotional material? So I think they gotta amp it up a little bit, but I think it's in a very good spot, but I definitely think it could use work as well. And I was concerned with this the most because I like Battlefield would live or die off of its, not necessarily just the destruction, but that's a big core pillar of the franchise, obviously.
Yeah.
So I think it's good, but I think it could also use more work.
Yeah, it's probably the thing that I don't want to say disappointed because that's not fair. I'm not sitting here going, the finals let me do this, the finals let me do that. As much as I very well could do that, you know. But I pretty much my problems stem from the same place that your problems do, where it's just like there are certain questionable moments where it's just like, you know, I'm running around with RPGs. They're very generous. They give me 5, so I anticipate the damage being a little lower as a result, right? That's just kind of what the expectation is.
Yeah, I was actually kind of surprised at how much rockets they gave you.
Yeah, and if you play effectively, you know, with the whole perk system, which I'm sure we'll get to, you get more in your pocket. But I mean, ultimately, like I said, my complaints are, or my lack of complaints, my concerns are about in the same place as yours, where it's just like, I'm scratching my head going, that didn't feel right. Why isn't that coming down?
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong. I think you said that Battlefield kind of, you know, not exactly, but the phrase you used is live or die. It live or dies by its destruction. And I think how that applies is like, you know, you had Battlefield 3, which is what introduced Levolutions, right? Or was that Battlefield 4?
That was 4.
Yeah, and it's like that those had like very high damage thresholds that were kind of pushed along by Battlefield, by, you know, whatever's going on in the match, right? I think the problem is, and it's going to be something it's probably the hardest part to design for the game, honestly, not the gunplay, not the vehicle handling and all this shit, is saying, okay, you got like, what's the player limit? 64 players? Is it still 64 players per match?
I believe so, yes.
Something like that. And it's like, you got to plan for the hypotheticals of like, okay, the maximum threshold is all 64 of these, or 64 v 60. It's probably 128, right? Or something.
In 2042? Yeah, it was 128.
But like I'm talking in the beta we've been playing. Which one is it?
Oh no, that was max 64.
So it's 32 v 32.
Yes.
Okay, I'm trying to keep it. It's the small details. The scoreboard is just large. That's all I know. We're dealing with a lot of players. But you got to factor in, like, for situations where it's like, okay, what if all of these assholes just decide to run RPGs and just focus on demolishing things? You can't have that. That becomes a mess, right? And I feel like as a result, some of the buildings are too durable. It definitely feels very lopsided. Like, some things feel like they should break easier, and other ones feel like, hey, I put 2 RPGs into that, it should be coming down. Maybe there's more pressure point or health value stuff that we don't know going on, but I think the biggest problem is there are, like, I remember shooting like a banister at like some kind of like food establishment or something with an RPG, and it took like 2 RPGs to bring down, and I'm just like, this is like a fence. What's going on here? I think they're playing it very safe because of how taxing it is, and I wouldn't necessarily be disappointed with them like slowly finding their way with that throughout the beta period and up till launch. But the problem is, like, they're advertising it very heavily that certain buildings, you know, come down if you hit them the right way, and it's not really playing out. Like, that's the first time in this press cycle for this game that I've been bamboozled, so to speak. Like, you know, we saw some of that early footage. We see, you know, they're saying, like, at the end of the beta, collect your damage receipt and stuff like that. I'm just like, we're not there. Like, it's not there. When it works, it's really cool. Like, I remember I was getting in a firefight with a guy, and I shot the corner of a building, and it shook for a little bit, and then it collapsed. And something I wanted in the finals, just to go back and give Battlefield a point here if you really want me to, came down and killed the guy, and I'm just like, that's what I'm talking about. That's awesome.
Oh yeah.
But that's another factor. It's like, okay, so if the building collapses and it kills people, you can't have that be an option everywhere. But I don't know. I think it's just a logistics thing for them where they need to. It's like, we want the destruction, but at the same time, we have so many people running around, we can't level the entire map.
Yeah.
That's, you know, yeah, so it's tricky.
Very fine line.
Yeah, it's very tricky, and I don't think it's quite in the satisfying place it needs to be yet. Maybe I need more time in a vehicle or something. I remember hitting a wall with a vehicle that I'm just like, I could probably plow through this, right? And it just wasn't the case. So it's possible we don't know enough about how the destruction aspect of the game works. Maybe there's some values, or maybe they just need some tweaking, but it's not where it needs to be 100% for me just yet.
Yeah, no, I can understand that. I mean, it's very cool to look at, but it's not like you can, you know, like you just said, there are certain points of certain structures that just are not going to come down. And that's not really how they marketed the game so far. Yeah. So it feels jarring. Like, if you're paying attention to that stuff, and then you try to replicate it in a live game and it doesn't work, you're just left sitting there scratching your head like, what the fuck? Like, why didn't this come down?
Yeah, and to reiterate, like you said, it does look very nice. It's just it's the feedback, it's the gameplay part of it that's just not there.
Yeah. All right, so I got one more thing on my notes, and then there's something else that comes into play with Battlefield as well that I want to talk about. So the last thing that I've written down are the maps overall. I think I enjoyed every map that I played so far. So we had the Siege of Cairo, Liberation Peak, and then there was one more in that city, but I don't remember the name of it. No, it's escaping me. But there's 3 maps in total that we got. I'm pretty sure we're getting at least one more next weekend, but I could be wrong. But I think the maps are a gigantic improvement over Battlefield 2042, just like everything else in the game right now is an improvement over 2042. But the maps themselves, like, they really set the tone for how the game is going to feel and play out. And I think that the decision to shrink the overall footprint down is a good one. Have like very concentrated points of combat throughout the map with flanking routes and choke points and all that stuff. The Siege of Cairo is probably my favorite one out of the whole beta suite right now. But I think that the other 2 are also really good, way better than anything that we had in 2042. I did not really get like the quote unquote all out war feeling on Liberation Peak, which is the biggest map in the beta right now, because that has jets, helicopters, and tanks and other vehicles as well. But I only really see like 1 or 2 tanks rolling around at a time. And it doesn't really feel like you're in this gigantic war that they're advertising. I mean, it feels cool when you're in the shit and you're going back and forth as infantry, but like, I am not seeing all these vehicles fly around like I'm used to. Now, I don't know if that's due because I was playing breakthrough most of the time. I'll go back in the second next week and try out Conquest, because like that's like the real like big scale mode. So maybe that was the reason why, but still, I think the maps are a smidge too tiny.
Okay.
That would be my only criticism, but overall, I like the flow of the maps.
Yeah, I mean, I have the same opinion as you do. I don't necessarily walk away with the same takeaway that they are too tiny. I think it's just that maybe it's just because we've been playing the other modes too much. Like, I actually, like, I think I told you this when I was playing King of the Hill.
Yeah.
It felt like I was just playing a faster version of Bad Company and Bad Company 2. Like, and to me, it was a huge,
Probably
like,
a good thing.
thumbs up for me. Yeah, like, so I'm just like, that just means the core gameplay is just about there. But it's like,
Yeah.
for me, one of my problems with Battlefield, and this I've struggled with pretty much everyone except for the older ones in 1943. The maps always felt so big that it actually made it cumbersome to play unless you like sat around and waited for vehicles. Like, that's pretty much what I did near the end of Battlefield 1's life, is I would sit on the screen, plug in my joystick, and just say like, oh, we're on this map now, so let me just wait this out until I can get a plane or something, you know, because it's just like I don't feel like running. Even though Battlefield, you know, again has that faster movement to compensate, which I like, it almost reaches that cumbersome level on some of the larger maps. So I am actually grateful that in the aspect where it's like the vehicle spawning is still about average, and the destruction isn't all there yet. I'm kind of grateful for the smaller maps. I do understand where you're coming from, though. I do think that Battlefield really does, like, there should be these larger options, because that's where the series came from, and I would prefer to see gameplay balances and tweaks that make those maps feel better for people like me, you know, without changing the core DNA of the, like, I don't want it to, you know, be fully around whatever I'm thinking it is. It's, you know, it's a give and take situation when you play a game, but I acknowledge what you're saying, and it's correct. I don't have the same takeaway of them feeling too small, because they're still comfortable to play, I think.
Right, and that's fair. Yeah. I mean, maybe it was just the offerings that we got in the beta. I'm really
that's a big part of it too.
Keen to try out the Brooklyn map. I'm very excited for that.
And another thing to consider is that they did say at one point that it's just like, oh, you know, we're going to be bringing back older maps, but it's going to be very heavily fan and community driven. And that's where you'll get a real taste of like the old, like, okay, is it the game? Is it the maps? Like, what's going on is when those classic maps start rolling in at a certain point, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll see what happens with that. Hopefully there's at least one new map next weekend. But that overall humongous improvement over 2042, just like every other aspect of the game. Okay, so the last thing that I want to touch on, at least that I can think of right now, is the whole class debate of whether or not weapons should be locked or unlocked between classes. Because as it stands right now, so all the game modes have unlocked weapons. You can use every weapon with any class.
Yes.
There's one game mode that has locked. I think it's a break. I think it's breakthrough. They're locked weapon classes, so the engineer can only use SMGs, and like a handful of universal weapons. Assault only uses assault rifles. Recon is snipers, and support is LMGs. Now, I found myself naturally gravitating towards the designated weapon type for each corresponding class. I didn't really notice the fact that if I wanted to change to whatever different archetype of weapon, I could have, but I liked the fact that I got the benefits of the signature weapons to that respective class more. And I did play the locked playlist, but I am of the opinion that DICE just needs to pick one. They just need to pick whether or not they're going to have unlocked weapons for everything and have the benefits per class, or if they're going to have locked weapon classes, because this has been raging back and forth in the Battlefield community since the game was announced. And I think they just need to pick one and stick with it.
Yeah, I think they could have actually found a middle ground just looking at the different guns that are available. It's almost like,
well, the middle ground is the fact that like an SMG has its benefits for engineer and not for assault. Like that's the middle ground in my opinion.
Yeah, well, or more like, you know, each class has one locked, you know, category, and then like there's a handful of others that work with whatever. Like you could do assault rifle, SMG, LMG, and sniper are like locked to specific classes, and then, you know, the carbine, the DMR, and the shotgun can be used with any, maybe. But I mean, I'll be honest, the more open stuff, I think you're kind of already living in that compromise where it's just like you're gravitating there anyway. You know?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, so the unlocked weapons, it honestly didn't bother me as much as I thought it was going to. And I think that is just a byproduct of the fact that we haven't had a good Battlefield since Battlefield 1. And now Battlefield 6 is actually good. And I'm just happy to be playing it. So I think that has a lot to do with it. But yeah, I mean, at this point, I think I'd be fine no matter which route they took, because if it's the unlock system, then, you know, each class still has good enough benefits for their dedicated archetypes of guns that I would want to just use those anyway. But if they decided to go locked weapon classes, which I honestly don't think they're going to stick with it, I would be fine with that too, because that's the way Battlefield's been forever. And, you know, on a certain level, that's how the game is meant to be played. So at this point, I'm okay with both. I don't really have like, I'm not steadfast in any side of the camp, but I didn't notice it as much as I thought I was going to. That's all. That's really what I'm trying to say.
I get you.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's pretty much my feelings on Battlefield 6 right now. I definitely want to see more of the game, more weapons, more maps. I'm very much looking forward to Portal. I actually think I'm going to jump in and create certain game modes and maps and whatnot, and just kind of go crazy with it. So, I mean, Portal in Battlefield 6 is what it should have been in 2042, and that's what's going to keep this game alive. Probably, it really is. That's what's going to keep this game alive. But one last thing, the lack of a server browser in the final game. Yeah, that DICE has been sticking with. That's a mistake.
That's a huge mistake. I mean, I mean, wasn't the response something along the lines of, and I just read the headlines for this one, so just set me straight, like who used it anyway, or why does it matter so much? Wasn't it something along those degrees, or was that...
That was the general sentiment, yes. Okay. They did say they were going to have a server browser for Portal, but that was it. Everything else was just going to be matchmaking. Yeah. And after the first couple of years this game is out, like the population is going to drop like it does with any game. And the server browser is really just a way to guarantee players get to play what they want on their terms. So, I mean, they've been making the right decision every step of the way for this game so far. They've listened to the community with pretty much everything, with the exception of the server browser. And like, that is probably one of the biggest, if not the biggest thing for Battlefield from like a longevity standpoint, that they just have to have a server browser. They have to. I mean, I don't think they're going to change their stance personally, but as a player, like, they have to have it.
Yeah, they're probably not going to. This reminds me of, I mean, when Modern Warfare 2, the original, was coming out for the first time, we weren't really involved in this because we weren't PC gaming at the time, or at the very least, not to the degree that we do now. But Modern Warfare 2 was the game where they removed server browsing for the first time, and there was like a boycott movement that failed, unfortunately. You know? It's like server browsers, like, there's really no negative to having one, because ultimately it gives more control to the players, and it helps in the game's twilight years and stuff like that. And it's really just a matter of companies wanting more control over the flow of players in a way that they feel optimizes their experience and creates longevity, when it really just causes frustrations for the people who are cognizant enough to even care about things like that. That's one big thing. They really shouldn't remove it, but it's also like you say that's like the only possible problem, or the only issue that they're misstepping. I mean, I disagree to a certain degree. Like, I still think the secure boot thing is a pretty about to bring that up. I was going to say that next. So like, this actually leads me into my next point perfectly. So I have both a gaming laptop and a gaming desktop. I pretty much only game on PC at this point. I haven't used my Xbox in quite a while. I don't even own a PS5. I switched to PC about 3-ish years ago, I would say.
And I haven't had a problem since. Like there's really no issues for me. And I have a background in IT. I've been working on computers for like 15 years. I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And yeah, so when they said that Battlefield 6 was gonna require secure boot in order to run the kernel level anti-cheat that they have in the game, well, one, kernel level anti-cheat pisses people off because they don't want shit in their OS kernel that they don't know what it's doing, and really just phones home back to EA anyway, and nobody wants EA to have carte blanche to someone's personal computer.
Yeah.
So that is a thing. Big old negative for the entire PC community.
Yeah, but that's negative for a few reasons. One, it's like it's opening the door to this thing because now you're
right.
No, there's other games that already have been using this, but now Call of Duty Black Ops 7 is going to be leaning into it too.
I was going to say that as well. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's the issue is twofold. Number one, it's just like, or it's threefold actually. One, like there's already cheaters. Like you're not. This is just a battle you're going to lose at a certain point. So you're just squeezing your consumer base, and your consumer base isn't necessarily going to be as savvy as me or you that knows what the fuck a secure boot even is and can set it up. Like I know a guy who's already bricked his fucking computer trying to play the beta.
You really?
Yeah, I do. And he's not an idiot.
Oh my god.
But he's not necessarily familiar with this kind of stuff because even like average people, there are average people and smart people out there that just don't fuck with computers in special settings like that. And it's like, even if they wanted to, they're gonna like trip over themselves doing this.
Yeah, as somebody who has a background in computers and in IT, I've been doing it professionally for 15 years now, something like that. Like I have to go into my own desktop and I have to tweak my BIOS settings so I can do this. But I haven't gone into my BIOS for anything in some time. I would say in like 6 months or so. And I didn't know where the fucking secure boot option was. So I had to go digging around. I had to change a lot of other settings so that I had to turn off the CSM option, I think, so that I even had the ability to turn secure boot on. I had to reboot several times. Didn't know where it was because they're hidden away in the menus, even if the modern day motherboards have GUI BIOS. Like it's still difficult to do. Like I had to look it up. I had to look up where the setting was on my specific motherboard so that I can do this. And then I turned on secure boot, and then I go back into my I load back into Windows. I go into system information. It's still fucking off. Like I didn't know why. It took me like an hour to really figure it out. I finally got it, but like somebody who doesn't know what they're doing is, like you said, they're absolutely going to brick their computer, and then you're out like several $1,000s. Like it's not. The cheaters are still going to be there. It's still going to be a problem. The fact that you require secure boot to play is pointless.
You're just squeezing the people playing it. It's a losing step in a war that, with all the ridiculous shit that companies do. It's like, don't be mean to other players. We're going to be monitoring chats. Monitor games for cheaters. That's your out. Don't like squeeze PC players. And I think they're really just relying on people heavily console gaming, which I think is how they're going to offset like the people that they're going to lose with all the PC specific issues like server settings, server browsers, and secure boot and things like that. Because I think they already mentioned, going back to the cheating, they already mentioned it's like, we've stopped 30,000 cheaters, even though we still know that there's cheats working day one in the open beta. Yeah, I'm sitting here thinking to myself, it's like, okay, first of all, that means nothing. This is like day zero, and you're already stopping cheaters like this. And number two, we put in a lot of hours, Dan, with people who are constantly angry about cheaters when there are none, be it the finals with Harrison or Call of Duty with Eric. And it was just, these people are already going to be seeing cheaters where there are none. You're not doing enough to actually you need to be at like a 90% accuracy to have people convincingly believe that you're stopping cheating. Yeah. It's like, it
needs to be like Minority Report. Like it needs to be at 100% efficacy in order for anybody to take it seriously.
Yeah. Here's what you do. You round up all the people you have doing like the fucking code of conduct shit and moderating, text chats, put them on, like, you know, have their job be just tuning into random games and seeing if there's tomfoolery afoot, right? And banning people. Like, that's what you do. Like, we're reaching a point, like, don't get me wrong, there should always be a tug of war with security of all kinds, not just gaming security, but like cheating and shit like that. There should always be like a tug of war back and forth where companies are constantly improving their technology versus the people who are on the bad side of these things, right? I get it. You're just not doing that. You're just digging the hole deeper. This is a bad move. It's not going to help fucking anything.
Yeah, and it's just so that you have more control over the people playing your game.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah. Battlefield 6 now has a kernel level secure boot anti-cheat. Now Black Ops 7 is going to require it as well. Yeah. They're just going to end up pushing people away. That's really all it's going to be.
Yeah, and it's going to be offset by a still very powerful console market. You might even drive some people back to console at that point.
Well, I mean, I will say that the nice part is that the DICE is allowing mouse and keyboard usage on console. So you just have to plug it in, and it'll work. That's how I really got started in PC gaming. Like, 3 or 4 years ago, I started playing COD with a mouse and keyboard, and I just like the level of control I have over it more than a controller. So the next step for me was to just switch to PC, and that's what I ended up doing. But yeah, so that's going to be a thing. They're not changing their stance on that, and it's just shitty. It's just shitty. There's really no other way to put it.
Yeah.
So okay, I mean,
the only last small thing I want to say about Battlefield 6, but before whatever final thoughts to put out there, I don't like the menus. So,
yeah, I don't like them either.
It's a good step away from, like, the Hulu shit that got done in Modern Warfare 2 that everybody seems to be adapting. It's like, it's a step in the right direction, but it's still too, like, it's not intuitive to use. It's still too close to that Netflix style.
Well, the weapon customization screen is effectively the same thing as COD. It's still the same overall UX design as
fuck UX.
They changed it in.
Fuck you. That's such a bullshit, like,
wait,
21st
what?
century.
Who?
I said fuck UX. Not you. Fuck UX. I would never say that to you. Fuck UX. UX is such a bullshit thing. It's another one of those fucking things that's just like, somebody, this 30-year-old burnout millennial needs a job, so we're gonna, like, he's gonna talk about his job at Hulu and how it does it's not UI, it's UX now. It's all such bullshit. User experience. Ever since user experience became a thing in this fucking industry, user experience has gone down. So let's just cut our losses and get the fuck out of this. But yeah, the menus feel a little cumbersome. Good. There's like a little extra step in like everything you got to do, and it needs improving. But I'm sure the UX experts know better than me. So what the fuck do I know?
Look, if that's the biggest concern with Battlefield is the menus, I mean we're in pretty good shape.
No, like I said, nothing bad to say about the gameplay. I'm just nitpicking at this point, but
yeah. But anyway, my closing thoughts on Battlefield. I am really enjoying my time with it. It's definitely a good time. It's a lot of fun. It brings back those old school Battlefield feels that I had when I was playing the whole franchise growing up, really. I mean, my favorite Battlefield game ever was Bad Company 2. I fucking loved Bad Company 2. It was so good. And that it was like, they said that Battlefield 3, 4, and the Bad Company games were the 4 main sources of inspiration for this one, and I think it shows. Personally.
Yeah, I think it definitely shows. I mean, we can't help but mention it every time we talk about the different aspects of it. So I think they're definitely on the right track with that. The only thing, I've never seen.
Okay. Yeah.
No, go ahead.
I've never seen the server queues where the highest that I've noticed was 212,000. That was the highest server queue that I noticed. I mean, I'm trying to think of like the last time I tried to get into a very popular beta in this vein, and I don't know the last time that those kind of numbers like were a thing. I mean, you have a better memory than me, so maybe you know off the top of your head, but
off the top of my head, I'm not entirely certain. I know there are some MMOs like that, but you got to remember the one thing I will say about the queue numbers is a lot of that is empty buffer. It's what a lot of these companies do. At a certain point, number one, it's good for the servers just to like kind of. It's almost like you're not really standing shoulder to shoulder you know, in this queue. There's like a gap in between, you know, so it's almost like, I don't want to say doubled up. Like the numbers are fairly accurate, but the real numbers is on Steam. Like I hear it's breaking records, you know.
Yeah, it was the third most played game like in this week. Well, I'll find it.
It beat Call of Duty's all-time peak for record of play, and that's the big thing for them.
COD has just been getting very, very complacent over the past couple of years. And
that's true. That is true. But I'm saying
right
like
now,
the best Call of Duty has ever done was beaten by Battlefield 6.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Which is pretty by a beta, not even the full game.
Yep.
So that's pretty wild. Right now, there are 347,000 players playing that beta. Its 24-hour peak was 479,000 players. That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's a lot of people. So the game is going to be a success no matter how you slice it when it launches.
Yeah, it's definitely in
October.
a good position. It's definitely in a great position now.
I mean, they would have to really shoot themselves in the foot to fuck this up. It's a layup at this point. Everyone likes it. I mean, it needs a little bit of work, but they listened to everything the community wanted, with the exception of a couple things. And the crazy part to me is that all they had to do was listen and do the things that the community told them that's what they will spend their money on. And it's an enormous success, and it's not even out yet.
Yeah.
So, just crazy. Yeah. So my final thoughts on Battlefield 6. I really like it. I'm enjoying my time with it, but it's like, you know, you're walking through the desert for fucking 10 years, and then all of a sudden somebody offers you some little bit of cloudy water. You're going to be so fucking thankful that somebody gave you that cloudy water. So I kid a little bit.
I get what you mean.
I think it's really good. I'm definitely enjoying it. The biggest question in my mind is how crazy they're going to get with the microtransactions, which is like a whole other category we didn't even touch on. We could save that for next week, though.
Yeah, it's fine. Plus, we don't even really know what the customization is, so like, what can we really add at this point? You know, like there was like
the only thing that we have to glean off is the in-game rewards for participating in the beta and the pre-order cosmetics. That's the only thing that we have to go off of. And right now, it doesn't look not like it looks fine. But we'll see how crazy it gets.
Yeah, I'm pretty much in the same. I was I don't know. I don't have much to say outside of what you said already. The only thing I'll say is like I'm not wowed by it. It's definitely where it needs to be, but I'm not like blown away. It's not like I'm salivating. I gotta have this game. I'm having a ton of fun with it.
Yeah.
But it's in.
Yeah, I would say the exact same thing. I'm not salivating. It did not quote unquote blow me away, but there were several moments where like it brought a genuine smile to my face. Like I think I told you yesterday where one of the first matches that I loaded into, I spawn, I walk out of this house that I was traveling through, and when I come out of the doorway, the what I see in front of me is this like destroyed landscape with vehicle remnants and like smoldering craters and shit, and I see a player like dragging another one across my line of sight while he's rezzing him as there's fucking gunfire and missiles going over our head. Like it was really, really cool. That brought a genuine smile to my face.
Yeah,
I think that's some of the highest praise I can give the game.
Yeah, I mean we've had our own we've had a few moments, you know, pretty cool moments, you know, just going into this. So I mean the good stuff is there. It's just I don't know what more they can do outside of refining it really to really. I mean, is this like the watermark for excitement and overall experience? It's not a bad one, but is it where it needs to be for a stable footing? I'm not doubting sales or anything like that. I just mean, you know, as things come and go, like if that's your watermark, it's only you can only go down from here when things start rolling. You know, are you going to escalate what Call of Duty did, you know, 5 or so years ago? Who knows? We'll see what happens.
Yeah, but I mean, I think it's off to a great start, and we'll see where it goes next week. And then, I mean, it's only 2 short months until like 2 months from today. Actually, it's August 10th. The game launches on October 10th. Yeah. So it's right around the corner. So we'll see how that goes.
We'll see.
I don't have like anything quote unquote new. Well, I mean, I do, but I don't think we're gonna have the time to talk about that. Plus the other thing I was gonna lead us into.
Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna just Bungie is being absorbed by Sony. Okay, it's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, that's a pretty big deal. All right.
It's officially fucking happening, and I mean, I think that as a big Destiny fan, as I have been for the past several years, the overall sentiment I've been seeing online, honestly, like mass positivity that this is happening. Like Bungie has mismanaged themselves into the fucking ground, and it's so bad.
Yeah.
And look, I'm not a Destiny apologist. I'm not like a Bungie fan, but like I know that this is a factual statement.
Yeah.
They have just been fumbling one step after another after the final shape came out, and I'm honestly shocked that it took Sony this long to do something about it or make a public statement, because who knows what's going on behind the scenes.
Yeah. It's a mess, just because like you said you're not like a huge, you're not simping for Destiny or Bungie, but it's just like this didn't need to happen. You know, we talk about all the failings and like how things got to get worse before they get better because people just don't know how to learn. But it's like, this is a legacy company. Say what you will about like the size of like Halo and Destiny or whatever. It's like the biggest tragedy of all this is not the fact that that things are coming to an end for Bungie. It's the fact that they could have avoided this at any point in time. They had, I said last week, so many off-ramps, so many decisions that they all the focuses were always in the wrong place. They're more concerned with like posturing and virtue signaling than they ever were with content. It feels like at a certain point, like it's just halfway through the game's life. It's like, what the fuck are we doing here? You know?
Yeah, it's so bad.
Yeah.
So bad. And you know, the nail in the coffin for me for Destiny, I'll say, is the fact that all the people that, and I know I've had to have said this in the past, all the people that I used to play with religiously just jump ship. They're done. They're gone.
Yeah. That's, you can't.
I would play with them like daily. Like yeah. I would play with them daily for like hours at a time. Yeah. And now it's just not there anymore, and it's kind of depressing, to be honest with you, because I would look forward to our weekly raids, and it's just not a thing anymore.
Yeah, like I said, like I tried Destiny at multiple different points and times. It wasn't for me, even though I would try it. But it's just like, I would prefer there be like just an honest to God great experience that didn't work for me that existed, and I could look at it and say, like, not for me, but boy howdy are they giving it their all over there, because nobody wants things should be good in general, you know, but that's not what you said. Mismanagement, I guess that's what it's going to have to boil down to, just based on the fact that just decisions were just not made, you know. And there's again, there's company culture issues and people siphoning money.
Apparently the dev staff on multiple occasions like told senior leadership, like, this is not the way to do this. This is the wrong decision, blah blah blah, and they just did it anyway. So they really have no one to blame but themselves.
Yeah.
But that's finally happening. Sony is they already own Bungie, sure, but they are now officially becoming a part of PlayStation Studios. So I don't know if like they're gonna. I'm sure the studio will survive like basically in name only, but beyond that, like they don't get to make any decisions on their own anymore. There's no way. There's no fucking way.
That's over, because I mean, like the news came out at such a whimper that either means that it's just like a purely like, I guess you could say what's the term I'm looking for, a move that it's just like it had its one foot in there already. Now it's just being official. It's just they're just like ushering it off to the home at this point. But I guess it's developing, because I honestly feel like this should have been bigger news, but nobody's fucking talking about it or seems to care. You know, so we'll see I guess we'll see over time what that means for Destiny and Marathon.
I think that, I mean, I've said this in the past also, but I think that Destiny will continue to be on life support for the immediate future until they come out with something like really game changing. There's no other way to put it.
The one thing I will say is that you know, we've talked about this before. Companies are learning that live service just isn't really a thing you can just spark anymore. So I think as long as Destiny still passively makes just enough money under these new like analytics, whatever, in a post live service focus within the company, you know, maybe, you know, it'll just be sitting there on maintenance mode for however long. I mean, Destiny 1's still playable, right?
Yes, I do not believe they turned the servers off yet, but that I feel like is coming.
And it's very possible. We'll see what happens, but ultimately, it's it's. The one saving grace in all this is I think they understand that you can't just make live service out of the blue. I'm sure they'll still try, but I think that'll basically keep Destiny on life support for longer. If there is a turnaround, I'm not confident in a turnaround at any point, but if there is to be one, they need more time than just pulling the plug in like 2 years, which I doubt.
The only thing that could really get me individually to go back to Destiny at this point in like a really serious capacity is it not like the same people that I play with. It's not them that have to come back. Like I would just need a dedicated group. That's it. Because it's just I've reached a point in that game where like if I try to solo grind or just do anything by myself, like it's just boring. It's just fucking boring.
Yeah,
I just need a team.
Yeah, I kind of get where you're coming from because that's happened to me with a few MMOs before, like both World of Warcraft and Final Fantasy XIV when I played them just across the last 15 years. I would always say, like, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of fun little things you can do, side content, but like the bulk of it, like the end game stuff, going through story and doing the dungeons and the missions that are part of the main content, that's not the side stuff. You really want to group for that, and when that just falls apart, like there's nothing there. Like World of Warcraft, not everybody was on the same page, so not everyone was playing and everything fell off. Final Fantasy XIV, I would play it with Joe and Tom occasionally, and it's just like when we didn't have a full group or there was certain content we couldn't tackle with even just a small dedicated group, or people just weren't interested in doing certain content. It's a drag, and it kills what would otherwise be like a fun experience. So I
mean, some of my fondest memories or the most fun I've ever had in video games were probably raiding in Destiny 2. I love it so much.
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Like,
actually,
I can appreciate.
Remember that one time that you joined me? It was Luke or was it Nick?
Yeah, Luke was there.
Yeah, so it was me, you, Luke, his friend, and like 2 other people. Yeah. And we dragged your underpowered ass all the way through Valor Disciple. You had nothing. You had all blues, and we dragged your ass all the way through it.
Yeah. And see,
it was hysterical.
That's a fun experience, even though Destiny never really clicked for me. I can still appreciate it, and it's a shame that shit like that is just squandered. I definitely, as time passes, you definitely need to keep some notes or something, because there's going to be a point where I'm going to want to like sit down with you and just talk about Destiny from my perspective outside looking in, and your perspective playing along with it like for the last 10 years or so. That's definitely got to be something.
I would actually love that.
Yeah, but I don't want to do it prematurely. Yeah, I don't want to do it prematurely.
Right, well, the game really has to like be on its deathbed. It's not quite there yet.
We gotta see what's going on with it, or potentially, and I'm not saying this is likely, if they were to do like a Destiny 3, then we would do like a.
Well, that's what everyone is screaming for.
I mean, I'll be honest, that's one of their few remaining exit ramps, just because it's like cut your losses and start fresh, because that would be the true like gather a new audience, and it might give incentive to people who dropped out from the convolutedness, because it takes a while to build up a structure around like a long 10-year running story, longer than that if you factor in Destiny 1. It is incredible. Like, you can only recoup those losses so much. Like, it's really a domino effect. Like, it builds up to an avalanche kind of thing when you start losing people in a game this old. Not saying an old game like diminishes it. It's just it's hard to retain players, and like you said, in an MMO like environment where people like you who still want to give the game a shot, you don't have everything you need, and the developer can't give you that, and you can't necessarily give you that. So it might, at a certain point, it might be time to cut their losses and do a Destiny 3, and maybe under, not that I have much faith in PlayStation Studios, but under a new direction, who knows what could happen. But we'll have to see.
Yeah, I mean, look, the only reason I found the group that I used to play with was because I was LFGing for raids like nonstop, because I wanted to play the raids, and I just happened to find a group that I really clicked with. And they invited me to the clan, and I was playing with them like every week. It was a freak accident, to be honest with you. And we just happened to get along. So, but I think I said this last week or 2 weeks ago. I don't have the energy to like put into an LFG environment anymore. Like it is a lot of fucking work. You need to be patient.
And and again, I think there is a hidden cost there of like, just because it is older, and it's like, you don't necessarily know if your investments are going to be worth it in a more stagnant player environment, you know? Like there's that it's in the back of your mind somewhere. I know it is for me as far as, you know, I hate fucking interacting with people. It's one of the things that killed Warframe for me is like I was playing it with Joe and we were having a good time. He's like, "Oh, if you want to do this, you got to go out and talk to people." I'm like, the fuck? Like, I don't want to talk to other people to get this. I just want to play the game and have fun. Like... No, but it's just like, it's for stupid trivial shit, you know? It's one thing to do like the whole stuff where it's like, oh, you got to find a game, you got to go do raids with other people. Okay, yeah, you need other people. And I've mentioned gripes where different games handle it differently. But with Warframe, it's like the in-game economy was like based around reaching out to people and doing third-party marketplaces to do deals and shit. I'm like, I don't fuck with that. But the whole what I'm getting at with all this is that there's a certain element when it comes to players that it's just, you know, it's something you can't really fake, and when you lose it, it hurts. And
it's
even for people who are locked in like you or willing to give it a chance, you just want them to give you good content. You know, you are the faithful customer that it's not stupid like I'm going to go along with you on everything, but that just give me a good story. I'm waiting for it. Give me a good game. I'm waiting for it, you know? And even if they're on board and you're on board, if the players have already left, like, what are you going to do?
Yeah. Yeah, it's really the only thing standing in my way. And I remember reaching out to my buddy that you know, was one of the most active people in my clan, asking him like, "Hey, are you gonna get Edge of Fate? You gonna jump back in?" And he was like, "You know what, man? I don't think so. I think I'm done with Destiny. Like they're reworking all the gear. You have to grind all over again for anything that's really worth end game level content. Like I don't have it in me anymore." I'm like, you know what? That's fair, man. Like I don't blame you. I was just reaching out to see if you were going to keep going, because if you were, then I was going to keep going. And all it took was one of us to be like, I can't do this anymore. And then the whole thing fell apart.
Yeah. That's tough to do, man.
Yeah, it's tough. I honestly never thought that Destiny would really die in this manner of like just fading away. You know, I thought that it would be kind of like, not necessarily like go out with a bang or anything, but
it would hang on there, like, and people would still play it.
Yeah. You know, they lost 75% of their player base, and I knew that people were going to give it up after Final Shape. I did not think it'd be that drastic, and I think that although the rework to the gear system was a must for like the health of the game, that is ironically the one thing that absolutely killed it for 75% of those people. So. It's bitter, but it is what it is. But now, I mean, look, if Battlefield 6 is gonna hold on to this momentum, that might be my main game going forward. I don't have it in me to play COD religiously anymore. I just don't. Not unless they give me back something that's very similar to Modern Warfare 2019. I could play that game till the fucking cows come home. But Battlefield 6 might be that game. I don't know. We'll see. We shall see.
We shall see.
Beyond that, so I put in our chat to the overall sentiment for Black Ops 7, like just as a topic, and I got a little bit more time, so I mean we could still talk about this if you want. We just spent like 45 minutes talking about Battlefield, and you know, I feel like this is the other side to that coin. I just don't give a shit. I really don't.
Yeah, like it's so crazy to me the fall off that Call of Duty had. They had a layup. They were just too greedy and stupid to fucking do it. It's literally like, first of all, like I could go how we got here at the whole point. I don't want to drag us down through what little time you have left, but it's just like you had Modern Warfare 2019, such a strong kickoff point. Then you had Black Ops Cold War, which was like, okay, wasn't necessarily as polished. You ended up rushing it because the other guys were screwing around. What ended up being Vanguard needed more time in the oven. But it's like, okay, you had the grounded, back to our roots Call of Duty that everybody loved, and then on the side you had the arcadey version. That's one of the benefits of the year-over-year is you can cater to do two different styles like that. And Vanguard comes along, and it basically they wiped the whole slate clean with their Warzone thing, which was one of my biggest gripes. That's what caused me to drop out a little bit there, because like I was locked into yearly Call of Duty again, just because it's like my results would show up in Warzone as like a cohesive thing. It's like even when they were
it
like
was like a universal stat.
Yeah, I loved it, and it sucks because near the end of Cold War and at the beginning of Vanguard, they realized players like me existed, and they started just arbitrarily nerfing Modern Warfare 2019 weapons. I remember it's just like I was just sitting there one day as I was waiting for people to log on. It was like Cold War Season 5 or something, and like I read the patch notes, and it's just like they nerfed the Odin, just a universal negative by 2 whole damage points, and like that is one of the most arbitrary things I've ever seen, and it's only because you want people using different guns.
Yeah.
So it's like it wasn't perfect, but it's like that sweet spot, man, in the middle of Cold War's lifespan was probably the best Warzone got, at least for me. And it's just like, so all that goes through, they do a whole new clean sweep of Warzone, but they don't really stick with it. They're constantly changing it. It's what led to this new breed of disgusting players that you just don't want to be anywhere near. It's just like a monster of a community.
So bad.
And it's like,
and the fact that there's so many of them, that's the crazy part.
Yeah, and it's they're trying to do the shit in Battlefield, and it's just not working. I hope they just stay the fuck away from that, because you just get wiped out immediately in that game. There's too many, like the sheer size of Battlefield is like, it crushes movement like that, even if it was catered to directly. I'm hoping it just isn't. But back to Call of Duty, I mean, I thought Black Ops 6 was okay. I kind of like them trying the new action movement thing. I played through the story with Luke. It was entertaining enough. But it's like, Call of Duty basically has already unraveled all the good shit it did from Modern Warfare 2019. Like, we talked about rises and falls when it was new. And it's really, I think all that momentum's crushed. I think I said it before when we were talking about Battlefield. The former president of Activision, or somebody higher up in Activision, basically said they hope that Battlefield crushes Call of Duty this year, because Call of Duty has gotten complacent and lazy, and I agree. And it's just, I don't know, Black Ops 7, it's just, I looked at, somebody sent me a picture. It's just like, what am I looking at? And it's like the pre-order costumes for Black Ops 7, and it's like, there's
awful.
It looked like Black Ops 3 and 4, and I'm just like, oh fuck, you learned nothing. You learned absolutely fucking nothing.
I'm looking it up right now. Black Ops 7 pre-order packs. Let's see. What the fuck is that?
It's like they got like the exoskeleton shit again. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
exoskeleton,
just,
the robot from Infinite Warfare, some cyborg looking fucking commandant Nazi character.
At the peak of them just like completely degrading their identity. They're backsliding into exactly where they were before 2019, both in like quality of game, but also in like aesthetic. I'm stunned that it's actually gone this far, and I'm hoping, regardless of how Battlefield 6 does, I hope it just kicks Call of Duty's ass, because it really needs it. Like, I would again love to just have like a Call of Duty like once every 2 years, and it's just good. And then maybe if you really want to do that,
they need to do, which is the ironic part.
Yeah, it's all they needed to do, and they were never interested in that. I don't know.
Yeah,
I do think that
like
they fell into that
Modern Warfare 3 as DLC thing. Like, that could have been a layup for them.
Yeah, but they weren't interested in doing that. I really think that what I said to you, however many episodes ago, when I was talking about like the divide in players monetarily wise, I do think there is just an underclass of people out there, and I talked to Harrison because this applies to fighting games too, that will just buy whatever's in front of them because they think it's memey, and they work like above average jobs. I mean, spend your money on what you want, but it's like they're spending $40 on these cosmetics and mini battle passes, and for every 10 they lose 10 players at a time, but there's at least one will out there that makes the same money, so they're just going to keep making mistakes, and their reputation's going to be in the shitter until it really impacts them. You know, I think you are. Yeah. Go ahead.
I think you are 100% accurate in that. I think that the amount of monies the whale spends vastly compensates for, every 10 or 100 people that decide that they're not going to play that game anymore. And those might be the people that spend almost nothing on skins and cosmetics. But the one whale who drops a couple $100, like just within a couple months, people go way crazier than that.
Yeah, and the reason that's relevant, and the reason it's relevant is because we talked about it then because it was about like identity of Call of Duty and the ridiculous skins. But at scale, as it progresses, it really reinforces a lot of their bad decisions, because they realize not only do they not need to rectify their storefront practices, they don't really even need to try with the gameplay and the changes and the feedback they get there all that much. You know, they're still caught in the death spiral chasing competitive players and streamers and following their thing, so it's just unpleasant for everybody else. But now they're reinforced in these decisions because of the fact that everybody's spending the money. That's why I always describe it as a monster. It's just a beast, a mess. It's like a natural disaster. Is because of all these crazy outlets. But it's something needs to kick its teeth in, like give it a firm kick.
Yeah. It has literally become too big for its own good, and it's at a point where the money rolls in, the numbers state one thing, the online sentiment states another, and it does not matter unless the bottom line figure is impacted. Like the game could be reviewing like, you know, 2s and 3s out of 10s across the board, but if it makes the same amount of money, it's just going to continue on the same path. And this has been said ad nauseum for 10 years. I mean, COD is what, a 20-something-year-old franchise? It's been said for over a decade at this point. Like, you have to vote with your wallet, and there's no way you're going to convince the average customer who knows what COD is, that, you know, just like wants to play a game for an hour or two at night after they come home from work, that it's a bad decision to buy this game. It's just it's just not going to happen. You know, the value needs to affect the average person more than the quote unquote hardcore fan. That's what it is. That's what it needs to come down to. And I don't know what that looks like, because clearly the out there, like the wild and wacky skins, are not enough to impact the sales figures. So I don't know what the solution to that is. Well, actually, no, I do. The solution is to have Battlefield whoop its ass in the sales. That's
a big part of it. There's a winning formula there that they can have their cake and eat it too, that they're not keen on, because, I mean, I say it takes work, you know, and you may think like, oh, companies don't want to put in the work, but I'm just like, no, companies don't want to spend the money. It honestly feels like when I think laziness, I don't think like, oh, they don't want to spend the money. I think like somebody's being lazy or everybody's being lazy, because this isn't like, you can very cheaply, using the massive budget that Call of Duty already has, you don't need to increase the budget in the slightest to make the development kind of changes that you need to make in order to just be in that position where you can have your cake and eat it too, and make reasonable cosmetics that people will still eat up. Like, all the shit that makes me pull my hair out with fighting games, there is like a monetization thing in play in fighting games right now, where there's like a casual underclass that buys all this like random crappy cosmetic crap, but like the gameplay is untouched. And sure, they're lazy and they drag their feet there, but the whole point is, in all games, there is a very simple and easy way to have your cake and eat it too. And it's like, there's a certain underclass of people that just dick around on the weekends. They don't care about games in general, but they definitely don't care about like reputations and year-over-year things. They just want to buy a silly game and play it over the weekend. There are ways in all genres to milk the fuck out of those people for every hard-earned dollar that they have, without screwing over your core player base and the direction of your series. But nobody wants to do that, apparently, even though the only cost, it's so weird to me, because it's like, you can berate someone for being lazy. How do you berate a company for being lazy? Because it like, is everybody just laying around on the same page, not willing to put in the work? I don't get it. But it might go back to talent bleed. Maybe they just don't have the talent to use the budget the way that I anticipate they could, you know?
Yeah, man. I mean, I don't, aside from a rival franchise coming along and showing them what's up, like, I don't know what the solution is. And even then, you know, not everybody is going to want to play Battlefield over a COD. Like, they're shooters, but they're two very different type of shooters. So, and COD is way more mainstream than Battlefield ever was, and it's only gotten bigger in Battlefield's absence. So like, it has its own advantage over Battlefield. So I don't know what the solution is, but something is going to give eventually, just like it always does.
Of course.
I mean, you once said that like COD has to fail what, three games in a row
before
they do something.
Yeah, something like that.
I mean, then that's what happened, and they came out with Modern Warfare 2019, and it was fucking phenomenal. So who knows what that's what the second version of that looks like. So
I don't know. I don't know if they can get the talent together to make that. Maybe we'll hear more about Call of Duty.
Because they brought back all the original people who made the fucking original Modern Warfare trilogy to make 2019, and like you had the secret sauce in the closet, like it was right there, and it was such an easy out for Activision, and all they had to do was throw money at the original developers at Infinity Ward, and guess what? It fucking worked. Because they were experienced, they knew what they were doing, they knew what the community wanted, and it was the perfect storm, really. And it didn't even take that much, banging your head against the wall to figure it out. So, but we are not in that position again this time. Like, it's a different thing now. Yep. So I don't know what that looks like this time.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we'll have a better idea closer to the Black Ops 7's release. Maybe after the holiday season, we'll see what's going on. But like, it's just all I see is a very stubborn series of companies, and I don't think they're. I think they think they're too big to fail again, or they really aren't even cognizant of the situation they're in.
Totally agree. Anyway, I don't think I have anything else. That was two pretty big topics this week. Or three rather. So I'm pretty much good. I mean, if you got anything else, I mean, now's the time. Beyond that, I'm ready to wrap this bitch up.
Yeah, the last small thing I have, and this is completely unrelated to everything else we talked about, is Nintendo recently made actions against a speedrunning event in Japan. That's really it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's a speedrunning thing that's been going on since 2013, I think. It's called RTA. RTA, for anyone who doesn't know, it stands for real-time attack. That's the name of the event here, but it's also the standard that Japan uses for their speedrunning tactics. Basically, there's in speedrunning, there's normally different categories, and that determine where the speedrun starts. Like, a lot of the times it's when you press start on the main menu, or if you start a new game, or you take a specific action that lets a cutscene play in the game itself. But Japan always does it from like power on, or when you hit start the first time, and that's what it's called, real-time attack. That's a little history lesson there. But Nintendo basically took action and basically said, hey, you can't use Nintendo games here anymore. I'm like, okay, well, that's a pretty big deal because, Super Mario 64 is a staple. A lot of the 2D Marios are a staple, different Legend of Zeldas and all that kind of stuff. People are saying it's because the company is officially a legal entity now. Like, it filed for legal status like 4 years ago. A lot of these are charity events too. Whether you believe that the charity event is above board or not, that's what a lot of these things are. But, I mean, that's all there really is to say about it. Nintendo has been rather litigious when it comes to these events. They've been eyeing the Smash scene for years, but it looks like they just took another one down, and this is a pretty big one from my understanding. Like, one of the oldest, one of the ones that's lasted the longest, but it's just another step. I really just wish when these companies decide to screw with community events, couldn't they just do it to the nasty ones first? Like, create the fucking Smash Brothers scene. I'm tired of seeing it. Just destroy the whole fucking thing. Yeah, but I think this mainly stems from Japan doesn't have fair use. You know that?
Okay.
Yeah, so I think that basically shores up Nintendo to be more litigious in their own backyard. So I think that's really what this just comes down to. I have more to say about speedrunning communities, but that'll have to wait for another time. Just this one little pocket of Japan poking itself in the eye, or Nintendo specifically, one of the more notorious. Nintendo has a lot of great games, but boy howdy, they're like Disney. I think we've said that before. Plenty of people have said it before. They're like Disney when it comes to like the legal side of things. They're miserable fucks.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Never a dull fucking moment.
Always something.
All right. Well, on that note, I think that does it for episode 67 of the Pregame Network podcast.
Oh yeah.
If you're still listening, then thank you for sticking around. This is kind of a longer one today, but we definitely had some stuff to say.
Battlefield hours.
And a lot of Battlefield, yeah. A lot of Battlefield. But it's important for like the mainstream gaming world, I feel like.
Yeah, no, it is.
Yeah. But anyway, again, that was episode 67. We'll be back again next week for, shenanigans and fun and games.
Yeah.
But on that note, thank you for listening, and we'll catch everyone next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.